Hello, welcome to Chapter 5 for Business Math. We are in savings accounts. So this is lesson 5.1 called Deposits. We did a lesson just like this in Chapter 4 for checking accounts. It was literally also called Deposits. So it's going to be very, very similar to that section. We're just switching over to savings accounts. Make sure you're reading through the chapter, look at the lesson, the examples, the formulas. Don't just jump straight over here to the workbook and hope that you have everything that you need there. Okay, again, just make sure you're reading through. So you have the background. You know the difference between checking, savings, or whatever concept it is we're talking about in that section. You have the background knowledge. You've seen it before. You've walked through the examples. All right, we are going to look at this bit here. So this is our summary of the section, basically. To open a savings account, you must make a deposit. Each deposit is added to your account's balance. To make a deposit in person, you fill out a savings account deposit slip to record currency, coins, and checks that you are depositing. To receive cash back, subtract the amount from the subtotal to find the total deposit amount. All right, so should sound pretty similar to the idea of a checking account there. And this formula that they give us here is exactly the same formula as the checking account one. So we have a total deposit equals the sum of our currency, coins, and checks, what we want to put into the account, minus any cash that we want to receive back. So if you're depositing money and you want to receive some money back, you're going to subtract that from your deposit amount because obviously not going to your account, right? You're taking it. All right. So for this first bit here, we have, let me just scooch my computer over so I can see the tools bar here. All right, so this first bit we have Robert Cassidy wants to deposit the following into a savings account. So he has 28 $1 bills. So that's $28, right? That makes sense, hopefully. Four $5 bills. Whoop. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's $20. And then it starts talking about coins. So remember, we're going to separate currency from coins. So currency means actual bills. Coins are, just all the coins that we want to deposit. So those two get placed on there separately. So make sure you always separate those two when you're adding them together. So we're just going to add this together. So he has $48 in bills. And then we're going to go, and I'm going to do this on this side. So we have quarters and dimes and pennies. So 16 quarters, remember, 4 quarters to $1. So we just divide by 4. 16 divided by 4 gives us 4, and I'm going to put a dollar sign up here on the top. All right, 12 dimes, 10 dimes for $1. So that means I have $1 and then 10, 20 more cents. 120. And then we need 100 pennies to make $1, so we just have 40 pennies there. All right, now we're going to add together so we can see how many coins he has. So 60, so 560. So if I were entering this, and I want you to just take a look at this one down here. This is actually for number 2, so we're not going to fill this one in for this. Then problem number 1, but the way you would fill it in is for currency, I would put $48 here. There shouldn't be any cents, but you still put 00 there just to show that there isn't any cents there because remember, currency means dollar bills, so there shouldn't be any coins there. Coins go in the next one, so I would put 560 here. And I can undo this. So I put 48. So remember, you're not filling this out. I'm just showing you what it looks like. So then you put 560 here, like that. And then for the next part, we're going to have checks. So we'd have check here and a check here. So you'd actually write these separately, 136.50 and 354.22. So you'd fill these out. You write those separately. You don't add the checks together. And now you add them all up. But remember, you want to take $50 out. It's not giving you a spot to put that on here. It actually would be more of a request that you would ask at the desk. You'd fill this out for your total account, and then you say, but I want $50 back. And it would be on the receipt. So in order to get the total, I'm going to total this up, and then I'm going to take away the $50 that he wants back. Okay. Again, you are not filling those numbers in here. So hopefully we don't see that, because this is for problem number 2. I was just showing you what it looks like when we write it on a deposit slip. So we want to make sure we total up 48 plus 560 plus 136.50 plus 354.22, and then whatever that amount is, I'm not going to give it to you. You need to subtract $50, because remember, he wants $50 in cash back. Okay. All right. So this next one, number 2, obviously the big difference here is we have a deposit slip. So they say your account number is, I'm going to change my color here so it's a little, I think the green actually looks better through the recording. On my side, it's a very bright green. So for the account number, we literally just go in here and we start writing our account number. 1785112. You always want to put your number on the deposit slips so they know where they're depositing it. They're going to require you to do that anyway. This says your name, so you would literally write your name here. That's who you're depositing it for, and then you put today's date here. So you would just fill those 2 pieces out, and then we would start going over here. So they told us you wish to deposit $34 in currency, $6.25 in coins, and a check for $228.91. So pretty straightforward. We don't even have to add the separate pieces together. We already have a total currency added. So we just write it in. And then coins. So I go to the coin section and I write it in. Check. We just start listing that here. Usually you'd also put a check number here as a reference for yourself later. So usually they'll tell you what the check number is, or sometimes, you know, if you're doing this yourself, you'd be able to see the check number right up in the corner there of the check, usually in the top right corner of the check, I'll say that. That's always where they are when I'm thinking about them. So you'd write that over here again for your own reference. So you're going to add those together to get your total deposit. And he doesn't want anything back, or your account. So you don't want any cash back today. You're just going to deposit that. All right, I'm going to let you finish that off. Simple calculation. I set that up pretty well for you. I want to say, let's scooch down here. So these bottom 2 are very similar. So this one, exactly the same idea. You're going to fill out the account number, today's date, your name, and then just fill this in. The only difference is they're going to make you calculate some of the pieces here, because you wish to deposit 120 dimes and 25 quarters and a check for these 2 amounts, and you want to receive cash back. So they're making you go through and fill that out. And this one actually has a spot for less cash received. A lot of the time they do have that. So that first one didn't have that because I think they were just kind of grabbing one that made a little bit more sense for the situation. We weren't asking for cash back on number 2, so they didn't put it there. Normally they have it there. If you're not asking for cash back, you just leave it blank, right? In this case, he is asking, or you are asking for cash back. All right, let's take a look at the bottom one. I'm going to help you set it up, and I'm going to let you guys solve it. And algebra does not necessarily mean it's going to be a harder problem. It just means we're going to take what we just learned and how do we apply it to the situation. A lot of the time, you're going to be given a total amount and have to find some little missing piece. So that's quite literally how most of these algebra ones go. Not always, but most of the time. All right, so Jim Russo deposited into his savings account a check for $536.75, a check for $347.50, and a third check. Oh, did they tell us what the third check was? They didn't. Just a third check. So that's a clue. We're missing something there. That's probably what we're going to be looking for. And so his total deposit was for $1,253.25 after he received $75 in cash. So he asked for cash back there. What was the amount of the third check deposited? So we just need to make sure that we go through and we're going to total. So first we have a couple things to total up here. I'm going to total the 2 checks that I know about. Ooh, that was supposed to be 7, not a 6. Looking at the other number, 750. So if I add these 2 together, then I get 800. Is that right? I don't think that's right. Hold on. I'm going to make sure my math is correct here on my paper. 536.75 plus 47.5. Yeah, that wasn't correct. Okay. 884.25. So there we go. So we have $884.24 in checks we already know about. We have a third check that we don't necessarily know about yet. So let's start building kind of an equation for this so that I'm going to let you guys solve the rest of it. So we know that the total deposit was $1,253.25. And that's going to equal his checks, his cash, and his currency. Checks, currency, and coins. Geez Louise. I'm just saying all kinds of fun stuff. So checks that we know about are $536.75 plus, and I'm just going to go T for a third check, okay? Just because for whatever reason that helps me remember it's the third check. And then we don't necessarily, he didn't make any other deposits. It just said check, check, check. There wasn't any other coins or currency, so we don't have to worry about any of that other stuff, but we do have to worry about the $75 he received. So he took $75 away from these three checks, and that's how we got the total here. So we need to make sure that we, and I just realized I made a mistake there, didn't I? I put just this amount, but we already totaled those. Silly me. I was supposed to write that amount there for the total, the other two checks. I only wrote one of them. So we have two checks total for $884.25. Sorry, didn't mean to make that confusing. So now we can subtract 75 from this amount so that we kind of know how much money so far we're dealing with. And then we just have to solve for T. So we're just going to have to subtract that from our total to see what was left over for the third check. I think for today, that's all I'm going to do for that one. I'm going to let you guys finish that one. I hope that helped, and I will see you in section 2.